Well. It's that Texas Longhorn Postgame show. How y'all doing? It is Taylor. We are here. Jump in here. Let's talk some ball. So this game should be over. They've got, 90 seconds or so in regulation where the Longhorns are getting ready to finish off a 35-13 win, provided somebody doesn't have a fluke score here. We were on pace to be on, right? I mean, I wanted to be on right at 6:30 tonight. And the game was on pace to be over right at like 6:29. But of course, we get 3 touchdowns, and 2 of them get, of course, called back by review. So we had 20 effing minutes of review at one point in the third quarter when Arch dove to the pylon, Arch Manning, that is, and dove to the pylon, and they ruled after what seemed like a 30-minute delay looking at it that he didn't cross the plane. And so let's do it again. And then the next kid, he gets over the goal line for a touchdown, the running back. But wait a minute, his knee hit. So we had 2 touchdowns get called back on reviews, and that's fine. And I'm not blaming the refs, but damn. Otherwise, the game would have been over by now, but it's pretty much over. It's 35-13. They're winding down the clock up at Darrell K. Royal Memorial Stadium in Austin, Texas. And the Longhorns are 1-0. They are 1-0 in the SEC. Evening, everybody. It is the Longhorn Postgame Show presented by the Law Office of Orlando Kell and by Price Chevrolet of Pleasanton. Rudy J has the night off. Rudy is doing things, and so I'm covering for him, and God knows he's covered for me a couple of times in recent weeks on In the Building because of school duties and such, and so I owed Rudy one, and Rudy's got stuff he's doing tonight. He's working, and so you're stuck with just me, but it's okay. We'll kill the 30 minutes with you, and I want to jump in here and talk to folks about Texas. We'll run through some of the other college stuff. We can get into whatever y'all want to get into tonight as it relates to Longhorn football or college football. And, you know how our shows go. I mean, you never know what subject matter we're going to jump into here. But let's start with talking about this Longhorn game here. Look, man, I don't think anybody's going to look at if you don't look at the score, it says 35-13. Okay, so if you don't, let me rephrase. If you don't look at the game, like if you didn't see the game and you just see the score, Longhorns win 35-13, you're thinking, okay, yeah, okay, pretty good win. They beat Mississippi State, who's 1-3 going in and crushed with injuries. But if you watch the game, it was a struggle, man. It was clear who the most talented team was on the field. That would have been Texas. But it's the SEC, man, and the thing that we're all having to get used to, I mean, obviously the Aggies would be like, hey, dude, we've been in the SEC for years, but for Longhorn fans or people that have not really paid as much attention to the SEC until now, because we all have to as college football fans in South Texas, with Texas being in that conference, we already knew, but now what we're seeing, and it starts today, and it's going to happen all year long, is you just don't get a whole lot of blowout victories in the SEC. You just don't get 51-6 like you get in the Big 12 or any other conference. You get slobber knocker football. Like Mississippi State is 1-3. Jeff Levy's now the coach. They lose their starting quarterback for the season. They run a backup out there who's a true freshman who clearly is not as good as the starter, who could barely get the ball downfield. They ran the third string quarterback out there at one point. And early in the mid first half, probably early in the first half, I'm thinking this should be a blowout. I thought we were going to have 45-7, 51-10. But it was just one of those weird games, man, where things didn't go right. Weird fluke things happen. A ball bounced left when had it bounced right, it would have resulted in a score. You got dropped touchdowns. You got way too many holding penalties by the offensive line. You got just weird stuff, weird bounces, Longhorn linebackers. Kid from UTSA that left Jeff Traylor and went to go make money at Texas, reaching up and batting a ball that goes right into the hands of the Mississippi State tight end. He's able to run for 20 yards. It's just one of those weird-ass games. Super weird game. And when it's all said and done, the bottom line is your Texas Longhorns are 1-0 after a 35-13 win over Mississippi State in a game that was close on the scoreboard anyway. It was at no point did I think Texas was in danger. But things were happening late second quarter, early third. You're thinking, okay, these are the kinds of things that tend to happen when we have these stupid upsets for these teams that are 4 times more talented than their opponent, wind up losing to these people because of weird, fluky things. But thankfully, Mississippi State wears out. They're missing. So they have no quarterbacks. Mississippi they've got 4 rotational defensive backs that are out in this game, and they have no depth whatsoever because they're playing backups, and so the backups are kids that shouldn't even be dressed, and they're having to play in this game. And so finally in the fourth quarter, UT's able to wear Mississippi State out, score a couple of touchdowns late, and wind up winning 35-13. So the bottom line in this little slobber knocker tonight for Texas is that if you call the Longhorn headquarters on Monday morning, Opal or Miss Nancy or whoever the lady is that answers the phone, she's going to answer the phone like this. First place Texas Longhorns, may I help you? Okay, see, so bottom line, whether it's 7-6 or 35-0 or 35-13, the Texas Longhorns continue to look like the best team in the country. If it's not Alabama, it's certainly Texas, with Georgia right on the heels of both. And they win 35-13 with their own backup quarterback, who's the greatest, most talented backup quarterback anybody's ever seen. It is Taylor. It is Longhorn Postgame Show presented by the law office of Orlando Kell. That man right there is the official family lawyer of In the Building and the Longhorn Postgame Show. Orlando Kell is a busy guy, unfortunately, because 50% of the married people in this country are going to get divorced. And that's unfortunate, but it is what it is. And if it happens to you, our guy is Orlando Kell. He takes all the emotion out of it because he doesn't share the emotion that you have in a situation like that. And he makes all the right business decisions. When someone gets divorced, you strip out all the emotion, it's simply a business transaction. It is a negotiation over money and assets, and you need a guy like Orlando that's bottom line and cutthroat like he is on your side if you're in a situation in which you need a family lawyer, and our guy is Orlando Kell. You can email him directly, Google him, look him up, call him. His email is orlandokell.law@gmail.com. orlandokell.law@gmail.com. Dustin's in here. Yeah, the Longhorn secretary will answer the phone. First place Texas Longhorns. Unlike the Cowboys lady, Miss Nancy, or is it Miss Peggy now? I can't remember who answers the phone anymore at the Star. She answers the phone. This is the Cowboys. We sit on our own balls. How can I help you? Thank you, Dustin. It's funny that that gets brought up, and only on this show, in the uniqueness of our show and Thunderdome and me and our history, do we mention the secretary at the offices. That's our thing. Don't let anyone steal that. If you hear some other show ripping off the secretary, you call their asses out because that's ours. And this is a show. And in my career, I have compared UT and the Cowboys for years. Can't do that anymore. Now, look, no one's crowning the Longhorns, right? They've not won the Natty or nothing. They haven't even played for the Natty. They got beat in the semifinal, but at least they went. I'm here to tell you, this comparison between the Cowboys and the Longhorns, and for years I've said that the Longhorns were the Dallas Cowboys of college football. And I think, do I need to explain what that means? A team with a ridiculous amount of hype, a team with a ridiculous amount of talent, a team where everybody's rich, where the third offensive line grad assistants making $250,000 a year, a team that the media always thinks is going to be a national championship contender every year. And, guys like Sam Ehlinger wind up being Heisman dark horses, overhype. And then the all heck no cattle phrase comes out as the season gets trucking because the Longhorns have underachieved for the better part of 15 years. But I'm here to tell you, and I think I've said this a couple of times to Rudy this year, you cannot make that comparison anymore. The Texas Longhorns are no longer the Dallas Cowboys of college football. And that became official in January when Texas went to the national semifinal. The Cowboys can't get out of the effing wild card round when they do make the playoffs, which they won't this year because they suck. Let's stop with the analogy. And I think y'all all agree with me. Anyway, a man with a brain in his head can agree with me anyway, that the Longhorns' days of being overhyped are over. No more is this overhypage Texas has earned its number one seed. They'll be number one again in the AP poll when it comes out in the morning. Not that that matters. Certainly not anymore with the playoffs now, with the 12-team playoff we have. But you cannot call the Longhorns the Cowboys anymore. The Longhorns finally, the coaching matches the talent. And the talent finally has answered to the hype because Texas is effing good. And they get caught into a slobber knocker tonight, but that's SEC football. That's how things go. Thank you to Annie G, who just donated $10. Thank you very much. That reminds me, if you want to jump in here with a super chat tip, go right ahead. Jump into the chat, jump into the super chat, and you can tip us if you want to. I appreciate that, Annie G. Thank you very much. The Longhorns are 3 times more talented than Mississippi State. As I mentioned, it's a Mississippi State team with 4 rotational DBs out of its lineup. It's a team playing its 3rd effing string quarterback in a rotation in the first half with their backup quarterback, who's a true freshman, and it looked like it. But it's one of those weird days where the Longhorns' offensive line was not as good. They struggled a lot. The way the offensive line played tonight, they're not going to beat Georgia here in a couple, 3 weeks. But I bet you they play a hell of a lot better against Georgia than they did tonight. By the way, Georgia may not be undefeated anyway going into that game because Georgia plays at Bama here in a little while. And as I sit here doing this show for you live, give me Bama to win this game tonight. Georgia struggled to beat Kentucky last week. Now, Kentucky goes into Oxford and beats 6th-ranked Ole Miss today. Kentucky's good enough to beat anybody. It's just SEC football. You know, most of the games are slobber knockers. So Kentucky, coming off a 1-point loss to Georgia, goes into Oxford tonight and beats Ole Miss, who's 6th in the country. So that being said, Georgia still, though, struggled to beat Kentucky. And Georgia does not appear to be as ridiculously talented as it has been the last few years. Or maybe Texas and Alabama have caught up a little bit. Whatever the case is, I don't think Georgia wins tonight. I think Alabama beats Georgia tonight, which will take a little bit of the shine off the game between Texas and Georgia in a couple of weeks, 3 weeks to be exact. But that's 3 weeks from now, and that's an eternity in football. Big Al's in here. The Longhorns are at least turning the corner with them going to the playoffs last year. Exactly. Cowboys can't even make a conference championship game since 95. You're right. They played in 2 division playoff games, Cowboys. Sorry to the Longhorns for making this stupid show about the Cowboys, but we've compared the programs for the better part of 15 years for all the right reasons. Dallas can't even get out of the divisional game. And when they do go to the divisional game, it's because they beat an 8-9 Tampa Bay team with Tom Brady retiring. Or they went 13-3 and they got a bye and wound up with a home game against the Giants several years ago and lost. The Cowboys don't even earn their way to the division round. At least Texas earned its way into the national semifinal last year. And based on what I've seen so far with a backup quarterback and the starter who was hurt again tonight, Arch Manning got the start, Texas at least ought to play for the final 8 based on their talent level. But we have a hell of a lot of football to go. It's just a weird day. They should have beaten Mississippi State a lot easier. You know, I look forward to seeing Sark's press conference here when we get done. It was just a weird day. You know, Arch was good, but he had some dumb plays too. Sark probably forced a couple of calls too, just trying to get things going. Offensive line committed an ton of penalties, like I was saying. He had the terrible drop on a wide open bomb touchdown that should have been a touchdown to Cook, and he drops the damn thing. Just one of those weird nights, man. One of those weird nights. But let me say this once again. Every single week, you see perhaps the greatest transaction in the portal we've had, and that is Isaiah Bond. That guy is so effing awesome. He comes over from Alabama in the offseason, and he has just been fan-effing-tastic. Isaiah Bond is the stud. That dude, I don't know that he's as good as Xavier Worthy. He's bigger than Xavier Worthy. You know, I don't know how good Xavier Worthy is going to be in the NFL. He's small. He's a speedster. You know, I think Xavier Worthy's going to have a solid NFL career. Isaiah Bond has an opportunity to one of these days to be making CeeDee Lamb kind of money. Isaiah Bond is the shiznit, and it was amazing again today on a day in which the entire team seemed to be struggling. Isaiah Bond had a badass game again. Big Al's in here with $5. Thank you, Big Al. I'm glad they also stuck it to Jura in the last ever Southwest Classic game at Jerry World between A&M and Arkansas, too. Did the Aggies hang on and win? Let's see here. Let's see here. Did the Aggies, how'd my Aggies do as I talk about the Aggies on the Longhorns show? My Aggie buddies are like, shut up, don't talk about us. We know you hate us now. Oh, the Aggies. Okay, so Big Al's right. The last Southwest Classic. I think because they start playing back at the home ballparks next year. Am I right about that? So the last one at Jerry World goes to Texas A&M. 21-17, the mediocre Aggies hang on to beat the mediocre Arkansas Razorbacks. Good time. Bernard's in here. Here's to Danny White and going to the conference championship game. Yeah, you got to go back to the days of Danny and the days of Troy. Oh, yeah, AJ, it's Darla. Yeah, Darla is the lady that usually answers the phone at the Star. It's Darla. Good morning, Dallas Cowboys. Sorry, we're not in first place because we sit on our own balls all the time. The bouffant wearing blue hair who answers the phone. That's right, it's Darla. Geez. Bernard's in here also. Did you see the news about Jay-Z? No, I was locked in on Longhorn football. What you talking about, Bernard? You better not be stopping the showdown. Am I looking for no reason here? See, Jay, don't tell me he got Diddy. Oh, please don't let it be about Diddy. Jay-Z. Oh, geez. Oh, did Beyonce file for divorce from JC over Diddy? Oh my. Did Beyonce and Jay-Z really lose 4 million Instagram followers over ties to Diddy? We're not friends if you keep bashing my husband. Fans give mixed reaction as Nicki Minaj denies that her husband was hanging out with Diddy. Yeah, I mean, they're all running like roaches run into the crevices of your kitchen when you turn the lights on at 3 a.m. Oh shit, we got busted. Oh, did he get busted? Celebrities are scrambling left and right to not get vacuumed up by the Diddy war machine. It's funny. So I don't know what the news actually is, but by the way, if Houston's own Beyonce is filing for divorce, hell of two things. A, call Orlando Kell. You can email him directly, Beyonce, at orlandokell@gmail.com. The other thing is, that's a great run. For two people that effing famous, that frigging successful, that unbelievably rich, they've been married probably what? I mean, they've been together for, better part of 20 years, something like that. Am I right about that? That's in Hollywood, that's a damn good run. Hollywood marriages, each year is like a dog year. A 1 year of a Hollywood marriage is really 7 years. Am I right about that? Yeah, it's 7 years. That's one. And Beyonce and Jay-Z they've been at least talking and dating and then being married for the better part of 20 years. So you can make the case they've actually been together about 90 years in dog years. What's up, Eric? Eric, $49.99. Thank you, Eric. I appreciate that. The big, bright, pink chat box. Archie is going to have a short career if he doesn't start sliding. They were okay. Mississippi State is dog water, and UT played like they thought GTO Mississippi would have handed them the game. Sark better slam them upside their Gucci helmet before Red River shoot out. Yeah, all good points. Now, Archie was grabbing at, what do you call this part of your hip? What's that called? Yes, look at that. What do you call that part? Is that a flexor? Y'all don't get nasty. I'm not going to. It's right there. He's grabbed. He was like pointing. Is that the flexor? I need to get my. I made 98s in anatomy in high school. But I forgot I get the pointer and the flexor mix up. But he was kind of like favoring that part of the hip there. You know, it's just below the stomach, just to the left. It's just above the groin. On the left side. That's either a flexor or a pointer. And Arch was kind of poking at it there toward the end of the game, and he wasn't walking awesome. And I agree, Eric. He cannot. Everybody says, he's a hell of a lot better runner than his uncles. He runs like his grandpa. Yeah, and his grandpa took an effing beating in his career. It's not worth bragging that you can run like your grandpa if you're going to actually go out there and do it. He needs to know, he needs to get smarter about that. You're right. He's diving into the end zone at the pylon and taking hits he shouldn't take. And, I don't want to, you're reading body language, but, then a couple of times they talked to Sark, the end game and at the halftime interview, Sark was not exactly thrilled about what he saw out there tonight. I'm sure if y'all watch the game, you know what I'm talking about. Sark's not happy tonight. I look forward to hearing his press conference because I'll bet you he's pretty critical. That was not pretty. It wasn't ugly. It was just a slobber knocker, weird ass game where goofball things tended to happen. And maybe there was something. Maybe there was a little bit of that. We're way better than them, and eventually the worm will turn. And eventually the worm did turn, but it was a little bit too close for comfort for most of this game. Outside of diving too much and a couple of bad passes, it's hard not to watch Arch Manning and just get a chub. It really is. I mean, he's just so freaking talented. He's still just a baby. He's still just figuring it out. It's only his second start. It's his first start against, no offense to UTSA, but it's his first start against a legit team. Now, Mississippi State's not a legit. They're not a good team in the SEC, but they're a legit team. Mississippi State would also run UTSA's off the field too. But so it's his first real start against real legit comp, and we see that beautiful touch. We see that toughness, but you got to know when to fold him though. When you're that tough, we see that poise he's got. We see that he can run. But I don't know if it was the flexor or the pointer, but he did tweak something there on the hip. So there's 2 weeks to get ready for Oklahoma. And to add to Eric's point too, I'll say this, because and I know that I'm in love with Arch, and I've got kind of a man crush on him because he's so freaking talented. Hard not to. But and I probably overreacted a little bit these first month of the season. Shocking that I would overreact to anything, I know. But today, I think, and I've only had one beer, so this is sober Taylor. Today, you saw why Quinn Ewers is the starter. There were probably a couple of throws that Arch let fly that didn't go right that Quinn would have eaten or dumped off to the running back or some shit. There were a couple of running decisions that Arch made that Quinn probably would not have attempted. Now, it's ironic I'm saying that because Quinn Ewers has a hard time staying healthy. But there's big boy leadership. I've played 27 games in my career, things that Quinn Ewers brings from an experience standpoint that Arch is going to have to learn. And you saw a handful of times, even after touchdown passes, there was a couple of touchdown passes where Arch would come back to the sideline and Sark was kind of getting on him a little bit, smacking him on the helmet. Let's go. I don't think Sark loved how Arch handled some situations either. And again, I'm doing this show with y'all, so I've not seen anything post-game, Rise, but I bet you Arch ain't crying on nobody nothing in that post-game press conference tonight. And I'll be interested to see what Arch himself says. So good news is, they were saying on the broadcast that they made sure that they would not let Ewers suit up because they did not want to be tempted to play him. Because had this been a playoff game or Oklahoma or Georgia, I think Quinn probably goes ahead and gives it a shot and at least starts the game and to see how it goes. But so that tells me he's at least 80% from the rib issue, the muscle. He's got the stretch muscle on the rib cage. But he's probably 85%. And the good news is that they have a bye now before Oklahoma. Oklahoma has a bye too. So Texas and Oklahoma will both have 2 weeks off before they play in the Red River rivalry. You know why it's called the Red River rivalry? Because of the Red River shootout, the Red River war that the U.S. cavalry had on that river in the 1850s with a Native American tribe. I thought, I'm a history teacher now, so I thought I'd mix that in. So the point is 2 weeks off for the next game, and Quinn Ewers, I'll bet you, is starting that game. So whatever happened to Arch's little hip issue, he's going back to the bench anyway, and there's 2 weeks before the next game, and I doubt it's anything serious for Arch anyway, probably just tweaked it, and so he should be ready to go back to his active backup role behind Quinn Ewers for the Oklahoma game here in a couple of weeks. Henry's mustache is in here. Eric Bishop is my hero. LOL. Me too, boy. You telling me? Eric Bishop's my man. But every single person that watches and subscribes is my hero. We love OEB. And we love his contributions, but whether it's 10, 5, or 100 or 49, we love y'all all very much. Now, it's kind of like a college football program. Yes, you got your big boosters, and we love them very much for the things that they do and give us. But we love from our number one top boosters all the way down to our cheerleaders and the backup drummer and the band. We love everybody in the program. So thank you for watching and subscribing to our shows. Rudy will be back in 2 weeks for Oklahoma. He took the day off today. If you're just joining us, UT over Mississippi State tonight, 35-13 at DKR. So now they have a bye to get ready for Oklahoma up in Dallas at the Cotton Bowl. I guess it's at Jerry. Is it? Oh yeah, the Cotton Bowl, whatever. I lose track on the stadiums these days. There's so many damn changes and games in other places. But they'll go up to Dallas and they'll have the state fair going on, and fall will be kicked off in 2 weeks, and the temperatures will be dropping, and Texas and Oklahoma will do battle. Let me suggest this, and I don't want to come off as a homer. Y'all know I don't do that. I keep it real. I think the Longhorns are going to beat the shit out of Oklahoma. The Longhorns will take that game extremely serious because it's their arch rival outside of A&M. I don't like Oklahoma's team. Oklahoma survived over Auburn today. Oklahoma got their ass kicked on offense by Tennessee last week. They don't have any offense. They lost Dylan Gabriel, the kid that beat UT on a last second stupid touchdown. He's now transferred because Jeff Lebby left as offensive coordinator and went to Mississippi State. And Gabriel was missing home. He wanted to be closer to Hawaii. He's a hellscape kid. And so Gabriel's transferred out to Oregon. But anyway, I've never thought that the Brent Venables hire was the right hire for Oklahoma when Lincoln Riley abandoned them for SC. I've never liked that call to hire him. He's a good defensive coordinator, and he's a weird, kind of an asshole kind of guy. Sorry, but he is. I don't think Oklahoma's going to be elite under Brent Venables. And I think Texas is going to kick their ass in a couple of weeks. That's what I think. Eric Bishop, God, Jalen Milroe is like snorting Smarties candy. So damn fun. Yeah, Bama's awesome. We've been getting ready. Texas is number one in the AP, and the Longhorns, they want to win the Natty, and that's great, and I hope they do. And can't wait for that big UGA game after the Oklahoma game. But, I think Georgia's in a hell of a lot of trouble here tonight against Alabama. Freaking Bama with Terry DeBoer replacing the legend Nick Saban. Alabama has not looked so far like it's lost a beat at all. People question the decision to hire Terry DeBoer because I guess he comes off as a Yankee because he was at Washington or whatever. That some bitch can coach. Question was, could he get along with, you know who I'm talking about? He's surrounded, he's living in Tuscaloosa now. He's living in Tuscaloosa. That's a different accent, as y'all know. The Texas accent is different than the SEC accent. They all sound like NASCAR drivers. I don't know, but it's just told Terry DeBoer. What we know about him? So what? He's up there in Washington, and maybe he led Washington to the national championship game. But he ain't never played down here in SEC country. Is he going to be the right man? So far, he looks like the right guy for Bama because they look freaking awesome, and I bet they beat Georgia tonight. All right, what else? What else do y'all have? The chats have been fun. Let's check the Twitter account and see what the people have. It's one of those games where, hard fart 35-13. It's one of those games. There's no reason to overreact to a whole lot. My hot sports opinions are Texas is still really good. Arch Manning is awesome, talented, but you see today why Quinn Ewers is the starter. And if you didn't notice in January, you have to notice now the Dallas Cowboys and the Texas Longhorns are not comparable anymore. The Longhorns have earned the right to no longer be carried or compared to them. Mm-hmm. Apparently, Bama just marched down the field and shoved your UGA's ass. Yeah, Bama's awesome, man. Sep 1286 is in here. As a dog fan, their ranking is questionable. with 12 playoff spots, the controversy will threefold this year. I'm sure, but that's what they want. That's what they want every year. All right. That's it. We're done tonight. Thank you so much to Orlando Kell. And a big thanks, as always, to my guy, LJ, and the boys at Price Chevrolet, the other big sponsor this week of the Longhorn Postgame Show. Why don't they head out to Price Chevrolet in Pleasanton, your hometown Chevy dealer, to get some help from their wonderful team. They'll treat you like familia. They're fine South Texas folks down there in Pleasanton. They'll assist you with any servicing that you need, finding all your vehicle needs. It is Price Chevrolet of Pleasanton, another sponsor tonight of the UT Postgame Show. So a lot of folks will make the drive down to Pleasanton when they want to buy a car or look at a pre-owned car, whatever it is, or trade one in. A lot of folks will make the drive down to Pleasanton because the reputation at Pleasanton, at Price Chevrolet down in Pleasanton, it's a South Texas reputation, not just a local one. You know, I work for a guy called Mickey Holt. He's the assistant general manager with the Missions this year. And I sat next to Mickey at most of the Missions games when I wasn't doing my little gags down on the dugout. And he found out that Price Chevrolet was one of our sponsors. He's like, wait, what? Is that LJ? You talking about LJ? Yeah. Oh, yeah, I've known that guy forever. He's awesome. You know, Mickey Holt vouched for LJ. My man Russ Fox from GC Roofing vouched for LJ. And they were right. And I looked into it, and the reputation that Price Chevrolet has in Pleasanton, second to none in this area. Thank you to Price Chevrolet. All right, Eric Bishop. Oh, my boys at Price, the best. Thank you, Eric. Eric's contributed tonight. Eric's like my quasi co-host. Good time. Bernard, shoot. 5 players left Alabama for my Seminoles. Oh, poor Bernie. Thinking they would be better than Alabama, but they were probably have been sorely disappointed. Yeah, Bama does not appear like it's missed a beat at all. All right, so that's it. I'm going to hang up on y'all. I'm going to go watch this game between Bama and Georgia, and I'm going to take that little Mexican woman that lets me live with her on a date tonight, too. So y'all have a great night. Have a good Saturday. Rudy will be back with me tomorrow night for In the Building. We're going to go back to In the Building tomorrow night here on Love You Hard TV. Appreciate everybody who was a part of this one. Texas Longhorn football. Texas Longhorn football. First place, Texas Longhorns. May I help you? No, Steve can't come to the phone. He's busy coaching his ass off. Go Horns. Hook 'em. Longhorns win. Off next Saturday for the bye, and then we'll be back, me and Rudy will, for Longhorn Postgame Show in 2 weeks for the Red River rivalry as they take on the hated Oklahoma Sooners. Love y'all hard. Peace out. Appreciate you watching. Longhorns win. Undefeated #1. Damn it. We'll see y'all in 2 weeks. Love you hard. See you tomorrow night on In the Building. Peace.